How you doing, guys? We're back with the Naked and Famous podcast. My name is Dan O'Cattle, and I'm joined here with our lads.
Hey folks, I'm Jimmy B.
Hey guys, I'm Rob Viera, chef over here at the Blind Pig.
Welcome back, Rob. It's good to have you.
Yeah, and thanks for dropping in short notice
Glad to
too.
be back.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So, lads, now that we're after getting back, Rob's here. We're going to talk a little bit more about how the week was down in White Plains this week. We had a bit of a festival going on.
It's crazy this week.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We had the Oktoberfest back.
Yeah. Is this the first one since COVID?
Listen, this is the first one I've been to.
Yeah.
I'm not from White Plains.
And
so
you actually hung out there, right?
I actually hung out. Yeah, I came and went out after work. I did
Rob's a
brunch.
Sobro native.
yeah, South Bronx, but went down there. It was pretty live. There was a lot of people out there, a lot of beautiful women out there. There's a lot going on.
Nice.
A lot of beer passed around. People dancing on roofs and things like that.
Oh,
It's
shit.
I
pretty
seen
insane.
that down
Yeah.
at the Brazen Fox. They had a couple of guys get up on the roof. People were outside.
Yeah.
Outside.
It's crazy the level that people get to, like when you think about it.
Well,
Like,
I think that day also it was a full moon that night, so I think everyone was
no.
filled up and riled up with a lot of
It
energy.
was a full moon.
Yeah.
I
The-
seen it.
yeah.
I was out there. I went for like maybe 5 minutes. I walked by the Brazen Fox. I seen Rob, and I was like, "Get me home." I was
and
like, I can't stay out.
people's superstitions are real. That crazy shit happens
the
all
full
the time.
moon's real.
Listen,
Of course.
I believe like with that full moon, a lot of people's tensions rise. A lot of people because there was a lot of intimidating factors that were going on that night. Everybody was trying to fight everybody that night. So
Oh man.
yeah, it was,
It's important to know as well that any of these big events, we like to refer to them within the industry as amateur hour.
Amateur hour. all
Amateur
day.
hour. Because people who don't go out normally and don't have inept social skills come out on those days and they just get absolutely fucking obliterated. Don't have any manners, no
Funny
self-respect.
you said that.
That's how it goes.
We actually had a group of people. We don't get going for the likes of like St. Patrick's Day. It's not in our business model, but we do get the backlash of it. And we did have groups coming in who aren't regulars and aren't from White Plains, aren't from around, more from upper northern Westchester. You get a lot of the northern Westchester people come down to check out these kind of events, and some of them people they have no idea how to act. You have people coming out who never go out, coming down from like Newburgh, coming down from like Poughkeepsie, and it's like they are going wild.
Yeah.
Going wild
they
in White
didn't-
Plains.
Yeah, they do not give a fuck.
They don't care.
Yeah,
yeah.
they do not
I mean,
give a
listen,
shit.
I got there. I think it was like what 5:30. People were already like shit faced. Like they
Yeah.
were.
Oh
done.
man, they've been on it since 11 a.m.
Yeah.
It gets going. It's wild at like 11, 10.
It starts early, right? Like
Yeah.
is there a parade? Or no?
I think there's like a DJ booth, and you had like the fire department out in it, and you had like the stuff like that. But I don't think it's a parade per se.
But there's definitely something to like kick off the event, right?
They block off the street. And
Yeah,
stuff,
well,
you know?
There was live music.
But
definitely
yeah,
live.
between Post Road and Maple, right, like in front of Brazen Fox and Lily's and Hudson Grill, there was like a whole huge tent and a band, and then they had some games. Like they normally do the what do you call the thing, the Steinholden challenge.
Yeah.
They normally do those, but is there like an official like kickoff to the thing?
I don't think so.
No, it's just like
Or
it
if
just
there
goes.
is, like I'm unaware. And we worked a lot of them,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we should know. But I know that you got to buy a wristband,
Yeah.
walk around with your beer and stuff. But it's good to see it back.
It's definitely good to see it back. Yeah, agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's good to see like that people are more relaxed. They're back at like normal events.
And normal events.
Normal.
They're
Getting
crazy shit.
shit-faced at 11
Is that
a.m.
what you guys call
Yeah.
normal?
So Rob, before you mentioned that there was somebody like standing on the roof of Brazen Fox, can you run us through that?
Oh, they were just up there just dancing and standing. I mean, just wild stuff. It's, I guess, I've never been to an Oktoberfest. I don't really celebrate holidays like that. I've never really done that. So, like, now I'm just like, if this is Oktoberfest, I can understand why everybody's, like, crazy about it and talking
Honestly,
about it.
I think White Plains has got like if not one of the wildest Oktoberfests. Like
Okay.
I've been around to a few of them, and White Plains ones get pretty nuts because you get
Yeah.
people coming up from the Bronx, people from Yonkers, people coming down from upstate. They block off the roads. The town's very accessible. You can drive here. You can get the train here. It's kind of nice, like right in the middle. And then they make a big deal out of it on that strip. So
Yeah, it's nice. This year as well, I haven't heard anything. Maybe you guys heard, and stop me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard of anything bad happening. There's been a couple of years where people get stabbed, people get like attacked, that kind of thing, or somebody gets jumped, or there's a fight and somebody gets really hurt. Haven't heard of anything like that happening this year. Actually, didn't somebody bite somebody's finger off a couple of years ago?
Yeah, they did.
Didn't that happen?
Is that not what happened to your eye, Jimmy B?
Oh, no, thankfully, no. This...
That was during Oktoberfest?
In Oktoberfest, in the midst of it.
Oh, no, we can get into this a little bit, but...
What happened to your eye? Let's
So it's honestly, it's fairly minor, and I find myself telling this to people who ask, but the injuries that you don't see are the ones that are like really bad. To be honest, this is just a bruise. So I'm sure some of my friends know, and you guys know, we all do jiu-jitsu. Been doing it for like 3 years. Great sport, love it. Great for the soul.
Yeah.
But every now and again you catch like a knee. Actually, you can't see this one, but this one's actually sore. But this is nothing. This is just bruising. A couple of years ago, I actually tore my MCL. It was a first grade tear, sorry. A guy had me in a single, and as I tried to pull my leg out, he was pulling the other way, and it was just like counter force, and it literally sounded like a loud pop.
Yeah, I remember that one.
You can imagine a balloon popping just on a smaller scale. It literally had that popping noise. It was so weird, and then and it felt like somebody snapped a rubber band like right there on my leg.
Jiu-jitsu gives you the injuries, though, right?
It definitely does.
Like, man, I've popped 2 ribs doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I remember that.
Real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I've hurt my thumb and 1 or 2 fingers. But honestly, I think we're fairly lucky that we haven't had any like
any major. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
For what it is, like it's the gentle sport.
My fucking ass. I guarantee you get less injuries from like boxing and Thai boxing. You reckon you get less injuries from Thai boxing?
So like on all the boxing I did, I never got any injuries ever boxing.
Yeah.
Like, and I competitively boxed. I've never had any injuries boxing. I had fights, no injuries. I got a little bit of a swollen nose. I got a little bit of a black eye. I will say that I did pick up headaches. I did start getting headaches that I never had before, and I noticed that was from hard sparring consistently. For when I was young, I was competitively boxing, and for a few years I picked up headaches and I stopped. In Thai boxing, never got any injuries. Everybody's super like professional with their sparring, or everybody I went with. I didn't wear a gum shield one time, and I think I was saying this to you. I was sparring a dude who was like 220, and I took a head kick off him.
Yeah, you told me, yeah.
And I had no gum shield in, and my jaw was ringing for
it
about
was like
3
fighting
weeks.
a horse.
Yeah, that was bad. But other than that, like I've never broke anything, no long-term injuries from any of the combat sports. So, jiu-jitsu is the one that I think you go hardest at.
Yeah.
And refrain from actually getting injured the most. Like if I went to the extent that I've gone with someone sparring jiu-jitsu, I'd definitely be hurt in boxing or in, Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Speaking of jiu-jitsu, actually, shout out to Mateo Martinez, one of our good friends who's been competing a lot lately, and we're going to have him on the podcast coming soon.
Mateo Martinez has been, sorry for speaking over you, Dan, but Mateo Martinez has been like a huge inspiration to most of the guys that started like training with him. He's just like unbelievably good. They actually wrote a whole thing about him on Flow Grappling lately and how he was on the cusp of a breakout performance. So he's definitely paid his dues.
Yeah, Mateo's the man. He's like a wizard. Like rolling with him is like you never feel like he's going hard, and even sometimes he'll just give you that little space to get somewhere, and it's like a pop, bring you back down.
It's like a whole.
Be great
he's like
to have
10 steps
Mateo
ahead. This guy. Yeah. Hopefully he sees this, and hopefully he's on sometime in the future.
Hey, we need you.
So we digress a little bit here, lads.
Yeah,
So
getting back to
Oktoberfest. You mentioned before, Rob, that there was somebody on the roof.
Seen a video.
Parrying.
There's a video of it. Yeah.
There's a video of some dude getting like dragged back off the roof. He's getting like wedgied back off.
We
the
should
roof.
definitely try and link that into the video.
That's a big nigga too, man.
No, you got
Yo, that nigga macho.
If he go that way, it's over.
That's dead weight right there, yo.
Hop over, bro.
I don't know. I'm supposed to.
Yeah!
Why did he even get up there? There you go.
Yeah! 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 Oh!
Let go. Let go. Man down.
You guys used to work at Brazen. How did he get on the roof? Where's the access to the roof?
Oh man, if you're mobile enough, you can get onto the roof of Brazen fairly handy. It's just I wouldn't recommend it to anybody because it doesn't look too sturdy.
Especially while
Yeah.
you're drunk, no?
Yeah. there was one year now that I'm mentioning. I was working at the back. It was some event. It was either St. Patrick's Day or Oktoberfest, and some dude's out the back, and he jumped up, grabbed the ledge, and then pulled himself up, and then climbed up to the second floor. And then one of the bouncers was standing there. He was like, "Out,
Down.
out, you're gone." I was like, everybody was screaming and cheering at him. I'm like, you'll probably laugh about this, to be honest, but you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
sorry,
100%.
pal. You're an idiot.
But you know what, man? That might have been his glory for the day.
Yeah,
That
definitely
might
his glory.
have been his. Like he might be still telling that story to his friends.
He's definitely going to be
Yeah.
telling the story.
Yeah. He's looking at the video like, that's me. That's me.
When he's spitting game to some girl in the future, he's like, I climbed the back of Brazen Fox one
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
But
It's funny.
yeah, so it's good to see the place getting busy for stuff like that again.
Yeah,
I'm very
I
happy
agree.
about it. I'm not going to attend some of these, some
Yeah.
of these gigs, but it's good to see it. It's good to walk through it.
Yeah.
And, know that people are back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I walked through on my way home, and there was definitely a good energy.
Yeah,
It was good energy.
You were
It was nice
saying
to
there's,
feel.
like this year there was no problems. That's great. And a couple of years ago there was problem. I think people are just so happy to be around big groups of people again that it's like there's a different vibe going around.
Yeah. People are just happy to be out, man, be mingling and just doing the regular stuff that we were doing pre-COVID. You know, that's what everybody was waiting for.
Hopefully we don't go backwards.
No,
No.
we're definitely not going backwards.
I mean, I don't want to be, but they tried it already with monkeypox, and now it doesn't exist because we didn't pay any mind to it.
yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dropped off real quick.
That's,
It did,
that's
to be
not
honest,
happening.
The monkeypox?
Yeah, you can't argue
Monkeypox
that.
scare. They wanted to keep us in fear, but that's not going to happen.
Nah, no chance. But so lads,
Yeah, let's keep her moving.
we've got like the top 50 bars.
Yes.
Just been released, right? Anybody who's into cocktail bars, into going out and having a good time, top 50 bars just got released recently. I want to say in the last 10 days. Basically gives you a rundown of the most notable bars in the world. Something that we were actually going to talk about before we get into who made it and who didn't was basically we're not sure how they do the rating. We're not sure if they're rating on specifically the product that they're delivering or if it's the total package, ambiance included, product. We're honestly not sure because it's such a wide array of bars and they're so different that it's hard to tell if it's specifically on the product, cocktails and food, if it's on the service and like how consistent they are, or if it's just on like, if you go here, you'll have a good time.
That's the thing. I was going to say that. I was like, sometimes you go places and you're expecting the word of mouth. You're like, oh, wow, this is like, I keep hearing about this place. I keep hearing about it. And you expect good service, quality service. And sometimes you get there and it's just a party. It's not, it's just like, oh, it's what everybody sees on Instagram. It's just a party. It's not actually good quality food and service or anything like that.
100%.
So you have to wonder sometimes, like, do they get the rating for the vibe or actual food and service and hospitality? Like, that's a big borderline, I think.
That's a good question. Did anybody know if they have an official marking scheme? Like if they show up with this is the points that they're getting like ticked off on.
That's what I'd love to know.
Yeah, I'd love to know that too.
And like, not knocking them because I know they do a great job. I know they do pick out like the top quality, top standard bars. Some I missed out on. There's some places that don't make it that I've been to that I'm like, wow, how is this not on it? And then, like you said, there's some places I go to, like, I'm not going to mention any specific ones, but there's places I go to and I'm like, I understand what this is. It's amazing. They're doing a great service here, but like, their team isn't experts. This might be a building that's been here so long. It might be, a business that's been doing this so long that it's almost set the standard for what is. But the people sometimes are mercenaries, and they're not really in it with the love that you might go to another place. And the people really are dedicated to their job and they care about like what type of experience specifically you as a guest are having in that moment. And then there's other places that it's just routine day in, day out, and they're just doing exactly what they do and have been doing for like 50 years.
For anybody that doesn't know what a mercenary is in the industry, a mercenary is somebody that just comes in and does it for the money. So they're coming in, they're gonna do the work, and then they're gonna leave. They don't actually care about the environment or the business or what's going on. Because I feel like a lot of people don't know what we're talking about. If we say
you might be
mercenary.
right.
No,
you know?
no, you're right.
But yeah, that's the restaurant industry definition of
So
mercenary.
the mercenary, the general mercenary is like, you know, someone who they just have to make ends meet. And like, this is like a way that you can do it without having to go to college, without having to sign a contract, without having to do many other things that are entailed in other positions or other jobs and other professions. But us as people who aren't mercenaries, you know, we love the industry, we love what we're doing. We're trying to get somewhere in this specific industry, and we can see who is and who isn't about this, you know, full-time, long-term.
This industry is an art. You know, you have to look at it as an art. And when the mercenary comes in and doesn't respect it or appreciate the art, you kind of want to kick them out of the room. That's all it is.
But you need the mercenaries.
But you need them. You can't
You
live
need
without them.
mercenaries, you know?
You know?
Yeah.
The game's too big to get rid of the mercenaries.
It is.
But
It is indeed.
Yeah, I agree. It is great that, you know, I think the guys actually mentioned this in Reservoir Dogs, but like this industry, anybody can work in. You know, you can very quickly get up to speed. You don't need to have a college degree or college debt, and you can still do pretty well.
No debt.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I like my dad's like a retired police officer, and like he wanted me to get a city job so bad, you know. And I've been cooking since I was a teenager, so I was making good money in my early 20s. And I like when I looked at the salary rate for a city job, and then I'm making double that. It was hard for me, you know, to want to do what he was telling me. And I
Then
understand
it is a trade-off. It's like, because we get no benefits. We have no insurance. These are all things we got to take care of ourselves, you know, our pension. But if you play your cards right and you're aiming to actually achieve something, then that shouldn't be an issue.
Well, if you're frugal and you have the right mindset, you can do it. You
Yeah.
know, you can live off of this very, very well.
My mother, I think I've mentioned this before, my mother's a chef. When I was young, all I wanted to do was be a chef, right? And obviously it's like, I grew up with just me and my mother. I see in her and I look at her as like, you know, provider. She's the person I looked up to. She's a chef, but she works 2 jobs.
Shout out
she
to Mrs.
worked on
Cahill.
Chris's. Yeah,
Wonderful
she
woman.
daily get it going. But you know, she worked on Christmas. She worked all the holidays. I actually, when I was finishing up school, was hairdressing, and I went to my mother and I was like, you know, I want to get into culinary side of things. I want to go to culinary school, and there's a great culinary school in Dublin in Catabura Street, and
What's the name of it?
it's called Catabura Street Culinary School.
Oh, cool.
But I worked in a like restaurant that my mother ran, like, you know, briefly and on my days off, right on that street. And I was like, right, I'll go to this. And she was like, absolutely fucking not. She was like, don't even think about it. She was like, you're gonna be working. One, it's so easy to form bad habits because everyone knows, you know, you become a chef. What do you do when you finish work? It's the middle of the night. Everyone goes boozing. She was
Absolutely.
like, you're gonna end up drinking a lot. She was like, you're gonna be working every day that there's family events on. And basically, you know, it's like the lifestyle that you're choosing isn't something that she wanted me to get into, just like your dad. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Ended up in it regardless, you know?
You know, it's funny on that same topic. I should note that my mother and father don't drink. My dad never drank. My mother has a few drinks, you know, on family events or whatever. And then I goes to my dad one time. He's like, you know, there might be a job going to this bar. He's like, you're never going to work in a bar ever. I
Yeah.
never want you to work in the bar. And now look where
Here
we
we
are.
are.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad. Cheers.
It happens. It
Yeah.
happens.
It's not meant to be. But getting back to the top 50, lads,
Yes.
it is pretty cool, I think, to see that now cocktail bars are being viewed as more prestigious
Yes.
in comparison to what they would have been viewed, or just in bars in general. If you look at a bar, people like obviously have, you know, you can paint the stereotypical bar atmosphere, but now you have like prestigious awards like top 50. You have world's 50 bars is another one, right?
Yeah, it's
And
definitely
they're
become like
making it a thing.
a more elegant like view to that average person. Like
Yeah.
people used to look at it like, oh, you're just a bartender. Now it's kind of like, oh, like, you know, he works in this bar.
You're a mixologist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, mixologist. There
Yeah,
you go.
you're a
There's a word for
mixologist.
people.
Yeah.
Mixologist. You know, well, you technically you are, but like, you know, at heart, I feel like I'm a bartender.
Yeah, 100%.
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some people call me a mixologist. I don't mind it being called it, but at the same time, bartenders.
Yeah, I
where
get
we're
called
at.
a mixologist as well. I'm like, I'm just a bartender, bro. It's the same
Yeah.
stuff. I'm making drinks. Like, that's what it is.
But so honestly, this year New York's doing pretty well, right? It's got 6 in the
Yeah.
top 50. It's got 6 in the top 50. I think it hit number 22 with Attaboy.
That was the highest or the lowest?
22 was at Attaboy. Yeah, that was 22.
Attaboy is 22.
And that was the highest on the list.
No, it wasn't.
No.
No.
From New York, the first one was Double Chicken Please at 6th place.
Yeah, we were speaking about this
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, we mentioned Double
same
Chicken last
same
week.
crew who did Angel Share. They've got connections to the Katana Kitten, which is not far behind them at number 9. Number 9, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
9th place.
9th place Katana Kitten, but they also run this is like a break-off group, so it's not the exact same crew, but these guys all came up in the same hospitality group, and I believe Speak Low in Shanghai, and they've got at one point I think they hit like 4 places all in the top 50.
Wow.
So that group's like
They're doing their
known
thing,
for
yeah.
procuring
That's impressive.
and curating like some of the top products and bartenders / business owners in the hospitality group in our sector anyway,
Yeah.
We'll move on to the Michelin and talk more about the culinary side in a couple minutes, but yeah, like the top 50 bars, New York's killing it. It's got 6,
Yeah, that's great.
2 in the top 10.
So we have, what do we have again? We have Double
got
Chicken Please.
Double Chicken Please, Katana Kitten, Attaboy, Overstory, and Dante.
Overstory and Dandy, that's 5. Are we missing one? Employees only.
Yeah, employees only. Big shout out, employees only.
Yes, employees only.
Even though
Employees
employees
only.
only was pushed back, they were a number of 47.
Yeah.
They were 47. We had employees only at 47. Anybody who likes to drink knows employees only has pretty much set the precedent. It's like, what I like about employees only is that you can get a good drink there, but it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's not just sitting down and chilling. It's like you're pretty much, it's a little bit crammed. Right?
Yeah.
You do get a little bit crammed, but like if you're looking to meet people who you don't know, it's nice. Like, you got that Oktoberfest atmosphere.
Yeah, there was a documentary made about employees only one time, and I remember the guy. I think his name is Amari Gouchon, or no, not Amari Gouchon, Duchon or something. Basically, the owner of employees only was asked one time. They were like, "How is your bar so successful? How successful?" He goes, "Because people get laid in my bars."
And
That's what he said. That's what he
But
said.
isn't that the reality?
Well, the energy's there.
it's
What,
like-
what are people coming to bars for? To
to meet
socialize.
people.
Of
you
course.
know? And if I'm not saying that you get laid the first time you go there or on the first time you meet someone there, but if this is your third date and you come to somewhere like Employees Only or the Blind Pig and the ambiance is set and the mood is right and you oil them up nicely with some nice cocktails,
Oil
you
them
know,
up.
you're gonna have a good time.
Nice.
Listen, if you come to the Blind Pig on a date and you don't get lucky, you got to go home and take some coaching skills from
From YouTube. From YouTube.
you know.
YouTube, getting back onto
The
YouTube.
menu
for-
speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Right.
So we spoke about employees only, so we
got
should run it back up the
employees
list.
only was the lowest ranked, which is strange, honestly, because I'm not gonna say they're one of the better groups. They're definitely on it a long time, where they've been awarded this award enough
Yeah.
times that maybe
This is where it would be nice to see what they
The
look
scheme.
for.
Yeah.
Like the checklist of what they're actually looking for and what they
Exactly.
see. Because some people may go to like Double Chicken Please and be like, hey, like I like this, but employees only is better. Like I would like to see what they. I'm not saying that they are better, but I would like to see how they measure.
I
that.
would say, for me personally, I've been to all of these bars that are on it, except for the Overstory.
Okay, yeah, I haven't had that one yet.
But which financial district, right? It's a financial district.
On the
hotel
64th
bar,
floor
something
somewhere.
like that.
64th floor.
64th
That's
floor,
gotta be
way
a
up.
We gotta check that
we
out.
gotta check
Yeah,
it out. We're gonna have to
100%.
Check that out.
check it out. Overstory.
Yeah.
Right. But what's the story at Overstory?
Exactly. There you
But
go.
so employees only versus Double Chicken is basically like, are you trying to enjoy your night or are you trying to experience a product? Because I believe for me, the experience of the product was great at Double Chicken Please, and I really liked how they kept it very simple, but yet they managed to make it complex. And they did that by using ingredients that most people will be familiar with, but in a way that you'll have never seen it used before, which I think is something that people enjoy, especially when it's not. Most people don't know some of the stuff that are going into these cocktails, and if you don't know Parmesan and tomato juice and X, Y, and Z, which is in one of the cocktails, cold pizza cocktail down at Double Chicken, you know, these are things that you'd be very familiar with, and you'd just be like, wow, I just couldn't expect this to be in a drink. You know?
That's a good point they bring up about the product, because when I was there, I felt like the whole place is the product.
Okay.
Like when you walk in, they have basically 2 separate areas. So they have a front bar and they also have the back bar. But the back bar, it literally feels like you're sitting in someone's kitchen at their kitchen island.
Yeah.
And then they're just like
I was actually sat behind.
Yeah, so you can see behind the whole thing, right? And they have like basically like washing things that you'd use in the sink.
Yeah, they have a kitchen sink. It's literally a kitchen sink.
Yeah, exactly. So that alone to sit there is like an experience in itself.
They also have a nice crocodile head coming out of the bar, which I thought was pretty cool.
Every now and again, you need a good crocodile head, you know?
Yeah, man. You know, shout out Steve Irwin.
Oh, God.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah,
Good
God
day,
bless.
mate.
I grew up on that guy.
Yeah, number one,
Steve Irwin
right?
was the
Man,
man.
his accent is like almost as legendary as now like David Attenborough. Like if someone plays you David Attenborough and then plays you Steve Irwin, you know right away, like, right, that's David Attenborough, right, that's the Crocodile Hunter. You got it. Like, you know, just their accent is like nostalgic to me.
Crazy went down. He got stung by a stingray, right? Something like that.
Yeah. It's so sad. I mean, his kids are doing great now, though. Like,
Yeah,
you
fair
know,
play.
Yeah,
Good.
they're running the zoo. They're doing everything like I think he would have wanted in his image.
Nice.
Good stuff. That's what you want from your kids, right?
Yeah.
The legacy,
have any,
man.
but-
Got to build the legacy.
Not yet.
Legacy. But so as we were saying, right, you got employees only's the last.
Mm-hmm.
Then I believe it's Overstory at 36. Then we've got
Overstory is 34.
34. Oh, so then it's Dante,
Dante,
at
36.
36.
Yeah.
So we've got Dante, and people should know Dante. If you haven't been to Dante, you should go to Dante. They have great product. They're there a long, long time. Very consistent. They've got the West Village location is recently opened up, which I believe is the one that they put on the list.
Yes.
Super aesthetic. It's white inside. It's, you know, it's green and cream outside. It's beautiful, but it's a sit-down bar, not like employees only, which gets us back to it's a very different atmosphere.
Yeah,
than
different
employees
vibe.
only. You're sitting down again. The nightlife isn't, you know, exciting, as some would say. It's not like a place you go to like, but Jimmy B, you like their Campari and fluffy orange juice cocktail, right?
Yeah, this is actually great. So funny that we're talking about what they do to get on the list, but one of their main products is called the Garibaldi. So the Garibaldi is literally just 2 ingredients. It's orange juice and Campari. That's it. But they go to such lengths to perfect this cocktail. Like, they really do. They get their own glasses made specifically for the Garibaldi. When you order the Garibaldi, they juice the orange juice fresh, but it's not like a squeeze presser. It's one of those.
It's a fluff.
What's it called?
They fluff the texture of it.
Yeah, they put they peel the orange, and then the whole entire thing goes in. And when it comes out, it's like fluffy, really, really fluffy.
Yeah.
They have a specific way of serving it. But when you taste it, you're like, wow, this is Campari and orange juice. That's
They've
it.
done it justice.
They've really given it a lot of thought, a lot of effort. Similar to the way that the Dead Rabbit done the Irish coffee.
It goes back
Like,
to
it's the love that you give it, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
Dead Rabbit's Irish coffee is something to speak about.
Banging.
But it goes back to touching the subject that we spoke about before. Is like, this is an art, right? If you can turn Campari, which, like, don't get me wrong, I love Campari. It's great, you know, beer, and orange juice, which, you know, is nothing like, everyone loves orange juice, but yeah, it's nothing that would blow you away. You're always gonna have your orange juice, be like, oh, thank God I have a glass of fresh orange juice.
Yeah.
But you're never gonna think, when you think of an orange juice, you're thinking a screwdriver. Okay, vodka, you're like, you know, vodka orange juice. But how they serve it and what they've done to the product to elevate it to the level without adding anything to it, that's art.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
It goes to show that it's not how much you do, it's how well you do it, I think.
Yeah.
Now, if you can deliver a product that only has 2 ingredients, that's it. Very, very simple, but you can make it so good. Like, that's very impressive.
That's why they say I can give you the recipe, but the sauce won't come out the same.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's all about technique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear that. That's serious.
It's all about technique.
Yeah.
Shout out to SpongeBob. Get
Yeah.
down on your knee. Don't forget it. So after that, I believe we go down into, I'm going to give a quick shout out to a cocktail bar that isn't in New York, but we're going to pass it down on the way. It's Maybe Sammy. Hit number 29, number 1 cocktail bar in Sydney and Australia. The team who runs it are killing it right now. They're really crushing it. They're opening up a couple of other places that are super aesthetic, super fun. They're like, in terms of employees only, they're all about atmosphere. They're having a good time. They curated the Mr. Black product. They're the ones who gotten it out into America and getting it, like, you know, out onto the cocktail scene. The guy who runs that place, Martin Hudak, is his name. Gentleman, I met him down at Tales of the Cocktails this year. He's a great guy. But anyone who wants to check out like a place, you know, maybe you're not going to Sydney anytime soon, but if you just want to look into it and you're interested in what we do, it's definitely a place to keep an eye on, and it's definitely a cocktail program to check out. But speaking of Australians, Attaboy, you're down to number 22, New York, we're back. The guy who runs Attaboy, straight from Australia, right? And it just goes to show the Australians are doing it really well with coffee and cocktails now. You know, I think they've curated a great culture for it, and the standard in Australia is like very high.
Yeah, there's no joke. And even the bakery that the bakery and the bakery products that they're delivering and pastries and stuff.
Is it Supermill?
Yeah, Supermoon Bakehouse. I was literally about to give them a shout out. So, I don't know what the culture is, and I would love to go and experience it at some point. But it seems like Australians love coffee, and obviously coffee goes hand in hand with pastries. But there's a place that Dan pointed out to me, and I went down a couple of weeks ago. It's called the Supermoon Bakehouse. It's in the lower part of Manhattan, but they're only open Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday if they don't sell out of all the product.
Wow.
But they do
Love
extremely creative pastries. The one I seen advertised at the moment is like a Nutella stuffed cruffin.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, croissant / muffin.
Love that.
And man, you just know this shit is delicious.
Man.
So when I went down, the guy, Australian guy, I think his name is Alex. Really nice guy. He's very, 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 very hospitable. When I went down there, I told him that we were opening a coffee shop, which we'll obviously touch on later. And super cool dude. I actually had a joke with him. I says, "Yeah, Alex, like, what's the deal with like Australian people and coffee?" And he goes, "What's the deal with Irish guys and bars?" I was like, "Okay, I like you a lot now. Let's exchange info." Yeah, pretty cool.
Man, Supermoon Bakehouse, unbelievable products. I'm a sucker for a pastry. You know, I'm always on the hunt in Manhattan and around all of New York for the best pastries. You know, I've been to the Lafayette Bakery. It's great. But I think Supermoon, you said it, right? They run it out of a warehouse. They don't require anything fancy.
Yeah,
They're
very simple.
specifically just about the product. Check them out on Instagram, guys. The Supermoon Bakehouse, it's unbelievable. They're doing they're doing God's work, in my opinion. They're doing God's work. But we're back to Attaboy, right? And Jimmy B, you been to Attaboy?
Yeah, Attaboy is interesting because, first of all, if anybody hasn't heard about it, it's a bespoke cocktail bar. So by that, they don't have any menu. You go in, you tell them what you like in regards to flavors. You like shaking, like stirred, like bubbly, like mint, like ginger, like spice, whatever you like. And then they'll create something for you, which I do believe leaves you in kind of like a gray area.
It's very gray.
It's very gray because you can have somebody there and the person that you're serving may not be able to articulate what they like. So if they can't articulate it to you and you're still doing your best, you know, you're you're leaving a hole for yourself. It's like you go to a barber, like Dan. For anybody who doesn't know, Dan was a hairdresser for a long time, and I guarantee if you're working with somebody and they're like, "Oh, you know, I want an inch off the top," and an inch to them is like this, an inch to you is like this, and then they're like,
and the top is a very gray area as well for me. I have loads of grays, but vague, you know, it's like, okay, are we talking about like when you're getting a fade done, where your fade meets, or are we talking about like specifically the top, your fringe? You know,
exactly.
People are gonna speak about people are gonna refer to things differently. I've been to Attaboy. I like it. I think the aesthetic is good, but personally, I don't think that the bespoke thing does. It shows the skill set of the bartender.
Agreed.
And the bartenders there are great. You know, I'm not going to say that they're not great. They're amazing. And the space, I like the space. But the cocktail I got wasn't for me. And I'm not a guy who's like hard to please with cocktails, but I am a guy who doesn't, I'm not into boozy stirred cocktails. Like, I will taste it, I'll enjoy it, but I wouldn't drink a boozy stirred cocktail. So when I go in somewhere, I'm looking for something, you know, a little bit more light, but I want robust, I want body, you know. And when I explained that to the guy, he definitely picked me up wrong, which is not his fault at all. Like, the cocktail he gave me, you know, my guest, the person I was with, they had a great, they enjoyed it. But me specifically, and I'm not going to turn around and tell this guy like, oh, this is not for me, because he did a good job, you know. So the Bespoke thing, but that's maybe what got them on the list. You know, we don't know how they're ranking this either. You know? But what we do know is Attaboy for sure deserves to be on it. You know, they're a great cocktail bar and they've been there for a long, long time. The guy who he came all the way from Australia. He made the paper plane cocktail, which is now a classic. Anybody who knows the paper plane, you know. But I do think that it's definitely not my number one on the list.
Yeah, it's also interesting though, since we've been talking about the style of the place and the atmosphere. The Attaboy is extremely casual, and by extremely casual, I mean it's like just a local bar. Like, there is somebody working the door, so when you arrive, it's basically hidden like a speakeasy style bar. It's just a steel door, but once you go inside, that's pretty much it. You know, here's your table, goodbye, and then you just go in and it's just like you're hanging out. It's casual. There's really no table service. Like, 2 bartenders, very, very chill. You know, but in relation to Dante, then you have a host, you have maitre d's, you have tons of servers, tons of bartenders, tons of food runners. The place is like crazy. And then in Attaboy, you might have like 3 people working, you know, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's what I'm saying. It's just the contrast is way off. You know, have you ever
I
been
guess
to
it's
Attaboy?
what I have. I guess it's what like people are looking for. You know, like some people want to come in and they want that vibe.
I wonder, is it the same person that they send to all the bars? Right? Like you said, it's like it's the person, what they're looking for. So is it the same person doing the ratings on every space? Or is it a team of people? Or is it one person?
If it's not the same person, it definitely has to be the same market scheme.
Yeah, it has to be. But even that, it's like you said, you're leaving it up. It's like, man, if we have 3 judges at an MMA match or a boxing match, right? The reason we have 3 is because the marking scheme, even though it's all the same, some people are going to count things that other people won't count. So, you know, it's definitely a gray area, you know, that we can't see how they mark all these things. But after Attaboy, you're back to another casual bar. But I do think it's definitely a much more elevated bar. You're down to Katana Kitten. Katana Kitten, that's a bar that when you go into, it's casual. They have got a maitre d'. You're going to be sitting at a regular, almost like what you'd expect to find in a dive bar in maybe Japan, right? Or in Asia somewhere. But the ingredients on their menu are super complex. So now you're back to like, you find yourself in the environment of a dive bar, and it's a good environment because like you have the banter, you have people there just hanging out and having a good time. You don't have to be dressed up. You don't feel out of place. Like in Dante, I feel like you definitely want to be wearing like, you know, your Sunday best, right?
Agreed.
But Katana Kitten,
It's casual.
It's casual, but their cocktail menu blows most people out of the water to the point where like I find myself Googling some of the ingredients on it sometimes because they bring like they definitely bring the Asian side of things into it, and they definitely bring ingredients that are Asian inspired that you wouldn't find here and that aren't local. And now it's like, okay, what is this? Which I like because when I go there, you know, I get a lesson. But at the same time, it's not the easiest menu to navigate for someone who isn't like, you know, used to looking at cocktail menus as much as maybe myself or yourself. But it's amazing.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think they're really known for their highball program. They do a lot of highball cocktails, but just like you said now, like a lot of flavors that they use are from Japanese sodas, from Japanese jams, from, you know, whatever's just common in Japan, I suppose.
And then you're like, okay, so what am I tasting here?
Exactly.
You know, sometimes you're like, okay, like, so this is what's said is in the cocktail, and I'm tasting something, but I don't know what 3 of these things are. And now I'm wondering which is which and what. maybe I'm tasting and maybe they've mixed it together to give me one flavor, or maybe I'm picking notes up of different things, but you know, most people won't actually understand what they are. Which brings us to double chicken. And for me, that's why double chicken made it the highest on the list. Because no matter how new to the cocktail scene you are, if you go to double chicken, they've made complex drinks with non-complex ingredients. And they really wowed me. I will say that. Like, they wowed me to the point where I go in there and I'm like, I want to make this at home, right? Which I don't want to do with most cocktail programs. Like, I did take a note out of Double Chicken's book, just so you know. Took a note out of your book. Number 1, yous are great in my book. I did make a brown butter with a mushroom medley, and I seen that they had a cocktail that had a similar, you know, structure, and I was like, wow. When I tasted it, I was like, this is something. You know, this is something that's different. Now, I definitely went a different route with it. I'm making, like, you know, an MSG tincture and a couple of other things that we're playing around with. But when I tasted the umami in this, like, old-fashioned style drink, just from the bourbon that they put into it, I was like, this is something new. They've brought some new elements to the cocktail game, but I understand it. I understand brown butter. I understand coffee. I understand mushroom medley. You know, they have a cocktail on it called key lime pie. Everybody knows key lime pie. But the execution of the cocktail is beautiful. And when I taste it, it has, like, you know, when you're a kid and you drink the little, like, or you eat the little, like, frizzle, it's almost like dust and it pops in your mouth.
Oh yeah, they used to have those dipping packets.
Star Rocks or something. What are they called?
Pop rocks. Yes.
Yeah, we got the Pop Rocks.
They hooked us
you.
early.
Thank you, Angelo. We needed you there. But the Pop Rocks. So I drink the key lime pie, and I'm like, all right, it's going to be key lime pie, like, which is going to be great, but it's going to be key lime pie. And then I get Pop Rocks. And it's not Pop Rocks. They're not visible in it, but I get that, you know, that
sensation,
feeling and the sensation in my mouth. And I'm like, they've done something. Like, what did they do here is great.
They're bringing back a childhood memory. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's amazing what they're doing.
But
that's a good point, actually.
Rob, have you been to Double Chicken?
I haven't. I have to go. I'm sorry. I've been in the kitchen a lot. You know?
Yeah, man. You've been working, banging away out. You know, on our new brunch menu, which has been killer.
Yeah, you guys got to come by and check out this brunch menu that we worked on. Shout out to Haley. Haley put in a lot of effort into that as well. She's one of our cooks here.
Haley Rose.
Yes.
Youngest member of the crew.
The big guy.
Member of the crew.
The big guy, we call her. We call Haley Rose the big guy. You know?
Yeah, she's the big guy.
She is the big guy.
Yeah. You'll see her when you guys come in. But she put a lot of pride and passion into that menu. So you guys come and check that out and eat it. We've been
Bottomless brunch here
crazy.
every Saturday and Sunday, and it's been getting going really well. We've got Bloody Marys, an assortment of mimosas from passion fruit to raspberry to the classics, you know, and some others. But honestly, our French toast, man, you guys did a number on that with the creme anglaise.
Yes.
The chile quiles that was brought back, you know, the Mexican inspired.
Yes.
Hector banged it out, super
Shout out
tasty.
to Chef Hector as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, the smoked salmon. That smoked salmon on the croissant.
That's the one that everyone sleeps on, and I'm telling you, when you eat it, it's an orgasm in your mouth. I'm not lying to you.
Oh man, it's amazing. Honestly, I had some serious, like, food porn dreams about our new brunch menu.
I find myself looking forward to coming in to work brunch now, and everybody knows if you're a chef, you do not want to work brunch, but I'm just totally looking forward to it every weekend now because I'm just craving the food. Like, that's how.
Yeah, I do
now.
also get craving for brunch. It's like you're getting dessert for breakfast. You know.
Yeah,
That's the
like,
best
come
thing
on,
about
let's do
brunch is it's a double whammy. You know, you're able to go and have your savory items now. You get your eggs Benedict, throw some prosciutto on there. You know, Rob's doing a number on it. Or you can go around and get your chicken and waffles. You know,
Yes.
which gives you a little bit of both. You got the sweet, you got the savory. Man, I want brunch right now. I honestly want brunch right now.
Put on my chef jacket real quick.
Yeah, we can go get something after.
But so back to double chicken. We'll finish off with double chicken and we'll move on from the 50 best bars, which, you know, thank God they brought it out, and thank God now we have a list of places we got to check out again. The double chicken, please. It's amazing. They're doing the front half, as James said. It's all tap cocktails.
Yeah, it's
which
its
is
own
a new
thing.
thing because usually you would look at tap cocktails and say It's not a cocktail bar. But they've 22 tap cocktails, and they've elevated them, and they've made them into like, you know, consistent. I've watched their batching process. It's amazing, and you know, it's something that we should definitely look into in the future in our future endeavors, where it's like they have a fast-paced environment for tapped cocktails, and then they have curated cocktails in the back, which are made with like super attention, you know, care, love. They really did a great job.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the tap cocktails thing, I think it's kind of, you can't say it's not a cocktail bar because they have cocktails on tap. Like someone still went to the effort of batching these cocktails the way this should be done.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Measuring out dilution. You know, adding in water to the cocktail before the cocktail is even made so that it tastes correctly. You know, they've got to worry about density issues.
It's got to be checked consistently.
Yeah.
I'd like to
It's a
say
whole
they
thing.
did something more.
I was
Yeah.
going
You
to
know what
say,
I'm saying?
honestly, it's
to
harder.
make it come out.
It's
Yeah.
more difficult.
It's a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
In the process of doing that, if anybody knows, when you're trying to like get ready for a busy season and trying to put something on tap, you have to make sure the quality comes out as it was just freshly made. And to do that, you go through the great lengths. So I think like people shouldn't shy down on because it's on tap. Like
Funny enough, the owner of Double Chicken actually said, right, and when I was there, he was there. We met him. He's a super nice guy. He used to work at Angel Share. But he said his favorite cocktails were the tap cocktails.
look at
Right?
that.
And
Do you say why?
maybe because he doesn't have to shake it. Maybe he's just like, you know, get the tap cocktail. No, but he did. He just said like his favorite cocktail on the menu is actually in the tapped cocktail section. So there you go. Like, you know, it's coming from the horse's mouth. You've got it right there. The
Nice.
guy who owns the place, his favorite cocktails were the tap cocktails.
Cool.
Yeah. But
Gotta go down again and check it out.
so next thing you got the Michelin.
Yeah, they were stepping into your area of expertise here, Rob.
Yeah. So funny thing, Michelin. When they started, if anybody knows about Michelin Star restaurant, it's a guide that comes out every year. They rate restaurants from 1 to 3 stars on if you should stop by. Not a lot of people know how it started. Michelin Guide was literally like they were Michelin tires. They were these two brothers from France that were they were tire salesmen. They were trying to get people to use their tires more. So they would give them a list of restaurants to travel to and go to that were noteworthy to stop by and eat at. So that's how Michelin started, and everyone's like, oh wow, like this is the best restaurants. But it actually started from a gimmick to try to get more tile sales from a business mentality perspective. It absolutely did. But yeah, they came out with a new list, 2022. Looks really, really good.
New York has an abundance of Michelin starred restaurants, right? Like we're the star-studded state at the minute. If you want to look for Michelin,
Star-studded state.
honestly, if you want to look at Michelin restaurants, New York's where it's at. We've got a list so long that we will never get through all of them, right? But we have got, you know, a couple that just made it,
Yeah.
you know. One that I seen that just made it on was Dirt Candy. Dirt Candy NYC. They just got a Michelin star. We had
Forever. Forever's another one.
yeah. Down in, is that Tribeca or is it the Lower East Side?
Somewhere down there. Who knows?
Yeah, but
It's downstate. Not upstate,
yeah,
downstate.
100%. So the you know there's a lot of Michelin starred restaurants. We got a list of a few right here. We've got Frevo, Ika, Japanese style, Jamak Dungeon, La Pavilion, Mari, Le Cuckoo.
Le Cuckoo got one?
Le Cuckoo.
Oh, cool.
We just
We
checked
just went
that
there,
out. It was
yeah.
super, like their fragois, amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I know animal lovers, you know, you're gonna be upset with the fragois because it's a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
inhumane. But like, you know, sometimes in order to make super tasty dishes, you need to be a little bit unhumane. Unfortunately, for any of these ducks that are getting fragoised.
Yeah.
But, right. We also got some 2 stars was Alcora and Saga, which are both 2 stars, you know, new on the Michelin Guide. But New York has so many at the minute. Like I've checked out, you know, Danielle. I've been to Coat. You went to Coat, Jimmy B, right?
Yeah, I went to Coat, yeah.
Coat's great. We spoke about it before. Has a speakeasy in the basement called Undercoat, but they're a Korean style Michelin star steakhouse. And then steakhouses, right?
Yeah.
We all know a steakhouse, right? We all know a steakhouse that didn't this year get put back on the list which is a touchy subject, lads. Peter Luger's.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's probably important to note that just because you're awarded a star doesn't mean that you're given a star indefinitely. Like, they'll come around next year and monitor your shit, and if you're not up to par as you were last year, they'll take that shit right away.
100%.
It goes to show like how serious they take it, right?
There's one chef, Marco Pierre White, that he got his 3 stars, and then he's like the only chef that was like, I'm gonna take them, and then he didn't try to go for any more.
Oh, he just quit then.
Yeah, and like,
Man,
he was
retire
like
at the top.
Yeah, like he was one of the first to do that, and like
So run that back, Rob, please. So he had one restaurant. He took the restaurant to 3 stars, and then he just left.
yeah, he was like he basically renounced his stars. He gave
He's
them
the
back.
Mayweather.
He's like, I don't need your star, like, and he retired the best. Like, anybody, if you're a chef, Marco Pierre White. You
Yeah.
read his books. It's White Heat. The Devil in the Kitchen. It's a
White
great book.
Heat, Devil in the Kitchen.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
there's some names for some
Yeah.
books.
Yeah,
But is it Marco Pierre White Gordon Ramsay's mentor?
yes. Gordon Ramsay was his sous chef at one point.
Right.
Yes.
But to think about that, that's the equivalent of winning a championship belt or winning a Super Bowl or winning a World Series and then just being like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But that's the way so many people get there, and then you have to watch their downfall. And watching someone who you love's downfall is one of the worst parts. Like, anybody who likes to watch boxing or mixed martial arts, you have a guy who you really love and he wins the title, and slowly but surely you can see, maybe age getting to him or whatever the case is, and then it starts to go down and it kills you inside. So I can understand why he did that. Like, that's a power play.
I mean, if you're gonna, retire the greatest, do it. If you have
Yeah.
a chance to do it, do it.
Right?
But that's
Because
the
everyone's going to remember you now.
It's
Yeah.
like you see Mayweather about to fight McGregor again. What if McGregor beats this guy? He just ruined his whole life legacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything that came before is completely forgotten about.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all they'll remember you for.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
You're the guy that got
It's
peppered
like,
McGregor.
Tony Ferguson?
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson, MMA fighter. He's around a long, long time. He's been competing for titles forever. The only thing anyone remembers him for is a funny face with a toe in it, because he got kicked in the chin and he made a funny face while he was like basically unconscious. And now the only picture you'll ever see of this guy is a picture of him like this.
Yeah.
And he's got his foot smashed into his
Yeah,
chin.
in my early
God.
years, a mentor of mine, an Italian wise guy, he told me, he said, people never remember the good. They're always only going to remember the bad. And that stuck with me forever.
That's the truth, though, right?
It's true.
And look at Peter Luger's. Like, Peter Luger's has been top dog in steakhouses. It set the standard in New York for years. And now, all you're going to remember is they lost their star.
They lost a star.
They lost their star. And
Do you reckon that's actually better for their business or not?
Well, I've gotten a lot of like mixed reviews on Peter Luger's. Sometimes you go in and I've actually heard some people say like, is this noteworthy of a star? Like, is it just a regular steakhouse? I think they did bring out steak and quality and service at a point, but to uphold that service, everyone knows, you guys, we run restaurants. It's to keep that team at that potential. It takes work. It takes a lot of dedication to keep your team motivated and to keep them driven to want to achieve the stars and the
Peter Luger's now is probably run with a lot of mercenaries.
probably.
That's what
Think about how
happens.
many people worked there for a year or two to gain it on their resume and just left and started their own adventures.
At a certain point, people want to use you, right? Like, initially, the restaurant is using the people. And then after a certain point, if the restaurant hits a certain standard, the people are using the restaurant to boost
Exactly.
their status, right? Whereas initially, I'm sure the chefs were boosting the restaurant status by, trying to get there. And now once they got there, you've every Tom, Dick, and Harry trying to come work there. And then eventually it's just people looking for money.
I mean, think about it. You work at Peter Luger's and then you go to work at any other steakhouse. That steakhouse is going to pay you whatever you want because they think you're going to bring that quality to their restaurant.
Yeah, and honestly, so let's do steakhouses while we're on the steakhouse topic. Like, what's your favorite steakhouse, Rob?
Oh, man, I'm going to be biased because I worked for a steakhouse, but I worked for Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse. It's very big in Massachusetts. They had one location in New York City, which had to close down due to COVID. Rest in peace to that. But
R.I.P.
we actually, it was a family-owned business. They have numerous locations. They didn't want to do like a corporate mentality. They actually put pride and passion into their food, into their dishes. Like we actually, fresh pasta, everything was fresh.
Wow, fresh pasta,
We
nice.
put out like heart and soul into those dishes. We changed every season. I think if we weren't in a basement in New York City, we would have been notarized. Like people would have been like, wow, this is a notable place to go to. But
Right.
we were literally in a hotel basement, which kind of messed up the atmosphere for what our white tabletops of what we were doing. But if you go to Boston, and if you go to the Seaport in Boston or all over Massachusetts, they're a great restaurant. Beautiful ambiance. They give great service. Check it out. That's my favorite.
What's your top dish in it?
Man, it changes. The menu changes. Like
Yeah.
you can't go back there and say, okay, we're gonna have this. Like they do have some staples, like the truffle gnocchi. Like that's a staple. Like everybody loves that. We had the angelotti. Like was on the menu for years, and then we finally took it off. You know, because we want to keep things
Fresh.
Fresh
Keep it
and
moving.
new, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do it. What about you, Jimmy B?
So I actually have two places. Right, one, I'm gonna give a shout out to Jake's in Riverdale. I don't think anybody would look at it and be like, "This is the best steakhouse ever," but the memories there have been great. Like,
I'm on it. Jake's in
Yeah.
Steakhouse. Jake's in Riverdale. I'm going to back you on that. I think Jake's in Riverdale is one of the places that you have to go to when you come to New York. Their Jake's style, right? You go there and get their Jake's style steak. Next level.
The second one that I was going to mention is actually Coat. We were speaking about it before, and Coat, I'm giving to it for a couple of reasons. So one is they got a star last year. All right, so congratulations to them, Michelin Star. They have undercoat downstairs, which is very, very, very cool. I mentioned it in the previous episode. Great spot. But also, it's very peculiar because Coat is definitely a nightclub.
Yeah.
100%. I was walking down to it and I knew they had a star, so I was looking for something, prestigious. I think originally people used to think of Michelin starred places like white tablecloth and very formal, that kind of thing. I walk in, bartenders are wearing t-shirts, like just regular t-shirts. The place is dark. There is loud music playing like a club, and then it's just Korean barbecue. But man, the food there was great. The A1 Wagyu steak, sick. It's just peculiar for a steakhouse. I thought it was very unusual, and I'm like, this place is pretty cool.
So our boy Benny Blanco sent me there. Benny is the recommendation wizard.
Shout out Benny.
Shout out to Benny. I know a few guys, right, who they say that they have the food gods, right? I think you know them as well, Jimmy B, right? We have a few friends, mostly Italians, right? Mostly Italians from Yonkers. Mostly Italians from Yonkers who
work on White Plains, yeah.
Working White Plains.
Yeah.
But, we have a few friends. Rob on the job. He can't stop chefing. We got delivery. But we have a friend, and his name's Vinny, and his friends, they call themselves the food gods. I don't agree with them. They've written down a load of places, and but our boy Benny is what you call a food god. Benny lives the life of someone who loves food. Anytime I'm going out, I text Benny, and I think he's getting pissed off at me at this point, right? I text Benny and I'm like, yo, where should I go? And Benny will send me, 3 of the top places. Then he'll send me their menu. Then he'll circle the things that I should get on the menu.
Oh, wow.
And Benny did this to me for Coat. And he sent me to Coat, and he had me try their tasting menu of steak. I loved Coat. I thought it was great too. But honestly, my number one, I'm going to say it's tied with Jake's, just like you, because I have a soft spot for Jake's, and I think it's amazing. But I worked with a gentleman who's a chef. His name is Bren, right? Brendan Donahue. He's the owner and operator of Jack's right now. Jack's in Eastchester. He's a good friend of mine. And he recommended to me to go to Keane's. And if anyone doesn't know Keane's is a very old steakhouse in Manhattan. And when you go in, their walls are decorated with old pipes, right? So I believe they have like a pipe belonged to Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, like smoking pipes.
Smoking pipes, right? So it's everywhere. They have pipes belong to like famous people throughout the eras, right?
That's
like
pretty cool.
Real old. But, and this might be blasphemy to say, but I was sent there to get this dish. I was sent to Keane's to get a mutton chop, right? And anyone who knows mutton chop, it's lamb, right? But Keane's mutton chop is, I want to say it's legendary. I want to say in steakhouses that Keane's mutton chop is legendary. And I went down there to try it, and it's big, and it's tall, and it's juicy, and it's elegant. Man, it blew me away. The mutton chop in Keane's really blew me away. So that's tied with Jake's. If I'm going out, honestly, for a steak right now, I'm going to Jake's. But if I'm going to Manhattan, which Jake's is technically in the Bronx, but if I'm going to Manhattan, Keane's is definitely, for me, the place that did it for me. And as you said, like, Coat is technically like almost like a nightclub. Keane's is like what you said, and it's a white tablecloth. I went in, it's definitely everyone in there speaking about business meetings or people at anniversaries. I think I went there for my birthday one year, and I just had a really great time, and I enjoyed their mutton chop. And thank you to Brendan Donoghue, Chef Bren. Anybody who knows Bren from Woodlawn, or any of the Irish in New York know Bren. Like I said, operator of Jack's, East Chester, amazing bar, amazing food. He sent me there, and it was bomb.
Since we're talking about the topic of amazing food, Glenn, can you run us by on your first time experiencing fine dining food?
It's funny, Jimmy B, when you say that, I'm not even joking. The hairs on my arms are standing up. I've got goosebumps. As you said that,
it's amazing.
It ran like it tingled up my spine. Man,
that's how good it can get.
Man, my first time. That's how good it gets.
Yeah.
My first time having food of that level was made by Andrea. Right, so Andrea was the chef.
Andrea's the man.
Andrea was the chef down at Papil's, which was his own restaurant. He opened it up when he was 24 or 25. This gentleman's a French guy. I think we spoke about him before. He's opening a restaurant now in North Salem. And we'll tag it into the link and we'll get you going. But honestly, man, I have a soft spot in my heart for that guy because the first like Michelin level food I tasted was from him. He's been working in French cuisine, like he's French, and he's been working in French cuisine since I want to say 13, 14. He worked over in Daniel. But man, the first thing I had from then was the mouche bouche.
The mouche bouche.
And I think it was like it was like a little lobster pillow, right? Wrapped in pastry.
It was like a pillow.
It's a little pillow. It came on a bed of little stones and pebbles.
Yeah.
Beautiful, right? And it was served to me by his wife. Because that's how they do it, right? It was served to me by his wife, and it had a mango gel or a passion fruit gel.
It had
a passion fruit gel on it. And when I bit into it, there was so much flavor in the gel. There was so much like flavor and everything that I literally got tingles in my body, and I was like, I didn't know food could be this good. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was my mind was blown.
Yeah.
Right. So anybody who missed out on going to Papil's, you missed out because he closed it down to go and do something bigger and better. Maybe not. Maybe different is a better word because I don't think you can do better than Papil's. He did an amazing job, but that blew me away, and I brought my mother there. I was like, bring my mother.
You know, I brought my mother there too. I was like, all right, if I'm bringing any lady, I'm bringing my mother. This is where we're going. Yeah.
What about you, Jimmy?
Man, honestly, Papil's as well. It takes the cake. It really does. I've had a couple of experiences in there, similar to what you say. I actually brought my cousin Sean, who works from Roy Dolan's. Everybody knows Roy Dolan's. Give a shout out to Sean Brennan. I brought my cousin Sean down there, and I told him, listen, we're going to a French place. And people probably know this, but it's important to note that it's actually illegal for you to call yourself a chef in France if you're not a chef. That's how serious they take that shit, you know? So anyway, I'm bringing Sean down. We're going to go to a French restaurant. He goes, French? I says, yeah. He's like, what are we going to eat? I was like, everything. And he's like, what are they going to have? He's like, I have no idea. And he's like, how do you not know? I was like, well, it's a tasting menu. It's a new season. I don't know what to have. Is there like snails on it? And I'm like, maybe. And he says, is there frog's legs? Like, there might be, but you know, they like it. He's like, oh no, I'm not eating French. I'm not eating
very Cavan.
Yeah, very, very, very green. But anyway, he came down. He was a great sport, and the train on the way down, he's like, I don't know, is it going to be good? Like, I was like, it's going to be okay. Like, you like it. It's going to be okay. If you don't like it, we go get pizza after, that kind of thing. So anyway, we sit down. Place is beautiful. Again, served by his wife. The hospitality was incredible. I literally felt like melted butter in the palm of their hand. Anyway, so Moose Bouche comes out, same dish, lobster roll with the passion fruit gel. And he's like looking at it real weird. And I'm like, okay, cheers. Bites it, right? His face goes like this. He's so confused. The flavor's like bursting in his mouth. And then he drops his head into his hand. And he goes, oh my God, it's so good. I was like, I don't want this to end. He's like, can we get the cheese? Can we, what else is on the menu? Can we get this? Can we get that? I was like, man, we're going to have a great time. But he was blown away. And it's, we definitely want your input on this, but it's mind-blowing how good food can actually get.
It gives you the
it's
biggest...
amazing.
You eat it and you just get this huge smirk.
Yeah.
You just get this huge smirk and you're just like,
it's
oh
incredible.
my God.
That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You know, like it made Daniel's hair stand up. The memory of it. Like this is something that it hits all your senses. You know, like you see it, it looks beautiful. You taste it, it all goes crazy. You smell it. You can even hear it cooking. You know, like while you're waiting for it, you hear the sounds going off in the kitchen. So it's a sensory thing for food that I love and appreciate. That for me, like cooking in a restaurant. Not gonna lie, sometimes I don't feel as passionate about it as when I'm cooking at home for guests in my own kitchen where I'm hosting somebody. Because when I'm cooking like that, I can see their reaction, I can see how happy they are, I can see the expressions on their face. When you're a chef and you're in the kitchen, you don't get to experience that. You know, you don't get to see that first reaction. So like when you say the first time that you had an amazing dish, like I go back, I think I was on a cruise ship at like 9 years old. Again, I'm from the Bronx. You know, we don't have a lot of fine dining restaurants down there. We're not really eating anything great. So I'm on this cruise, Carnival cruise, and back then the dining room, the food was extravagant. Like it was really fine dining food. They had white tabletops. It was like how I said at the Steakhouse. Now I recently went on a cruise. It's not the same. I don't want to give you guys a wrong input when you guys go and expect this, but back then like. I didn't know how to act. I was having like the shrimp with the flakes, and I didn't know what it was. I'm 9 years old. I'm just like, it's just melting in my mouth. Like this doesn't usually happen. I had a soup that tasted like ice cream. It was just phenomenal to me, you know. So like that experience, I'll never forget it. And that's what food and hospitality does to people when they walk into an establishment. Like we have the chance to touch their soul, to touch their memory, to touch a fondness or something that they can be like, I remember this moment. I was with this person. It was in a beautiful time. With the food, the drinks, the taste that went on in my mouth. Like it's unforgettable. I think that's the best thing about food and cooking and serving and hospitality to me. It's the memories.
Them magical moments these are what push us in our pursuit of hospitality.
Yes.
It's like we want to give that to people. Like I've experienced that. It's such a good feeling. It's such a good thing to experience. I want to give that to people. Like if I can give that to people for my job, if my job is to give you that experience, then I'm not working. Then I'm having a great time. You know, and for me that's what I'm chasing right now. That's why we want to aim to be the best hospitality group that there is.
I mean, we're talking about Michelin Guide, we're talking about top 50, but like we're gonna be on these lists. Like we're driven to give this hospitality to the world, you know. And like I think that's why I come into work every day happy, because I know everybody on this team is still on the same page of giving the greatest hospitality that we can.
So speaking about our team, lads, which I love to death, and I love what we're doing. We've got a few projects coming in the pipeline that we've been working hard on, and they're starting to come into fruition. So I think it's time to, give a little talk to the people who we haven't spoke to about this, and, let it out of the bag. The cat is out of the bag a little bit. So anybody who knows us know myself and Jimmy B, we opened the Blind Pig, 2019, right before COVID. And, we got through COVID and things are going great right now. And we've sort of got to the point in here where it's never going to be a perfect, it's never going to be finished, it's always going to be a work in progress. But we are limited in here to infrastructure and to capacity. So we decided to take a spot across the street. We're working on it right now. And the reason we've been going around everywhere and looking at pastry and, trying to figure out what we want to do in terms of coffee is because we're trying to make a speakeasy, essentially a dessert bar, espresso bar. Jimmy B, if you want to weigh in on it.
Yeah, so we threw the idea around for a while. And I was interested in doing coffee because, you know, we run the bar at night time, we can run a coffee shop during the day. And Dan and Kirby found a space, and then we said, well, why don't we do like a speakeasy, and then we can do both in the same establishment. And also, unfortunately, we do have some guests that arrive and are disappointed because we're a small place. We only allow in a certain amount of guests, and we have to turn a lot of people away. So that's, on the hospitality end of things, it's poor. You know, we have to see people that were so excited to come by, and it's the middle of dinner service, and we actually can't have them. And it's like, well, shit, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
it's
you
really
know.
problematic
Yeah.
because turning people away is against our nature in hospitality. We want to, you know, we want to cater and we want to serve you, but we can't do it at the cost of the comfortable environment that we're trying to produce for the rest of our guests who are already in here. And because it's so tight, like James said, you know, we do tend to turn a lot of people away. So the place across the street's hopefully going to solve that problem for this experience.
Yeah. You know? We've put a lot of work into this place. Rob has been helping us a lot with the menu. We all put in tons of time down. You've been working like crazy. Kirby's working like crazy. I've been working like crazy. But it's starting to come into fruition. We should be starting our cosmetics in the next couple of weeks. Actually, most of the cosmetics may be finished in the next couple of weeks. You know, the last final touches are going to take a little bit more time. Some things have to be fabricated, that kind of thing. But we're aiming to open it by the end of mid-October right now, so probably in late November.
Yeah. So the front, we're gonna wait to put the face in the front basically till we're ready to open. It's gonna be Sweet Temptations. This is gonna be the dessert and espresso bar. Hidden in the back, we're gonna have a bar that we like to call the OMC. So the OMC is an acronym. Basically, you know, one more coffee because you can get coffee at the front. One more cocktail because it's a cocktail bar in the back. And just because we like to have a bit of fun, it's Operation Midnight Climax, which, you know, the name's kind of out there. It's funny, but honestly, it comes down to something me and Jimmy B had been looking at, and we were kind of laughing and giggling about it. CIA operation. Jimmy B, if you want to weigh in on.
Yeah, so in the 50s, there was a CIA project called the MK Ultra, and a sub-operation of that family of projects, I suppose, was called Operation Midnight Climax. So MK Ultra was essentially a program to try and discover or try to figure out brainwashing.
Yeah.
Like, they used tons of different methods, but Operation Midnight Climax solely focused on bringing in agents to brothels, drugging them up on LSD, getting, you know, the ladies of the night to, you know, fool around with them or whatever, and seeing what kind of information they could get out of those guys.
Yeah.
You know, that was the whole test. Operation Midnight Climax kind of makes
Yeah,
sense.
so basically, they're trying to use mind control techniques. Anybody who wants to look into it, you're more than welcome to look into it. It's all documented. The CIA have released all the information on it. And basically, they thought LSD would be a great method to try control people's minds, and they hadn't really figured out what it was or, you know, how it could be useful. So, you know, no better way than to get a bunch of Johns into a brothel who can't tell their wives or any significant others or anyone they're embarrassed to tell what they're doing, and, you know, use them as the guinea pigs and see what they can get out of them. So it's gonna be good crack.
I will touch.
Well, after that, sorry, Rob.
I want to talk about the menu.
Yeah.
Because I'm working on this. It will be a game style menu. So it's going to be a couple of meats that you probably haven't seen before. We're going to work on that and bring some really good, extravagant dishes to the people there. So I want them to be prepared for that.
We're going to try work with some game food. We're trying to bring a different style of menu to White Plains, you know, something that's not here. I think it's going to be really, you know, I think it's going to be praised. I think it's going to be accepted very well. But we're also working on another project, a much bigger project. Anybody who's from White Plains, anybody who's from Westchester who's trying to party, there's a big chance that they know Vintage. It's on Main Street. It's a very large space. It was used predominantly for parties, and you know, it went down because of COVID Fortunately, the guy who owned it, he switched and went to Dunn's, you know, which we love. Dunn's is a great bar in White Plains. If anyone's looking for like a nice, you know, casual, traditional Irish bar, Declan from Dunn's, he's running a great spot. But he let the space go mostly because of COVID. You know, the parties weren't happening and everything shut down. It was like a 2-year period, but it gave us the opportunity. We seen it coming, and myself and James, you know, we went over. We took a look at this place, and it was perfect for what we wanted. And it wasn't too far away from where we wanted to be because we love Westchester and we love White Plains, and we came to the conclusion that we're going to call it Le Maison Creme, which translation is like, you know, the house of cream or the cream house. And we're going to try to start almost like, I would say like a music venue, and we're going to bring an all-day brunch atmosphere into White Plains, because we find that there's just not a great selection of breakfast and brunch options during the week in White Plains. Like when brunch is on at the weekend, you've got a lot, but Monday to Friday, you don't got much. And it's a big thing in Manhattan. And we feel like we could bring it to White Plains, and you know, what do you think, James? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's great. I'm very excited. Everybody loves brunch, and I guarantee if you're offering brunch on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, people will go for brunch. You know what I mean? Like people go the whole week long, and me myself included, I'm craving brunch by the time Saturday comes along. Like I want some waffles, I want some pancakes.
And then if you miss it, you're good.
And yeah, you're good at it. So we're gonna move in that direction. It's also gonna be like a French style cafe. So it's gonna incorporate a French style cafe plus the brunch element, and then the music venue in the back, or the event space we could call it, or potentially, you know, comedy show. Definitely event space is a good name for it. But you know, it's still the early phases, so we haven't figured out all of our concepts just yet. But we are very, very, very excited.
Yeah. Rob's been helping us with the menu there. We're hoping to has a lot of infrastructure that we don't have at the Blind Pig, so it does open up a lot of different, you know, pathways for us. You know, we're speaking about Monday to Friday all day brunch on the weekends, and then we're gonna do you know, a week to week special menu for dinner, which Rob's procuring at the minute.
It's gonna be very, very fine dining, highly elevated food coming in for you guys on the weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it. We're thinking about doing 3 appetizers, 3 pastas, 3 mains. You guys can come in and pick from one of the 3. It's gonna be extravagant. I can't wait. That space, when you guys see it, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, we're having a great time with it. I think that we're hopefully going to get a bit of outdoor area out the front of it also. And you know, we're going to try help build up the downtown White Plains area, because like anybody who lives in White Plains or comes to White Plains knows that most of the atmosphere is on the upper, you know, the upper end of Mamaroneck Avenue, but downtown is really coming along, and they're building up, you know, the old plaza has been knocked down, you know, they're putting up apartment buildings there. We've got over here the Opus, which is, you know, like great people living there, and they have to walk all the way up, you know, up the street if they're trying to have what we're going to provide down there. And then we've got this huge project going over at the mall, the Galleria. It's going to be turned into an outdoor mall with like residentials on top. It's huge projects, and honestly, I think that it's gonna be the future of White Plains. You know, it's definitely, we're gonna bring a concept that's not there. We're gonna bring some energy that's not there, and we're gonna bring, like, you know, a new area to the White Plains area. And I hope all of you come and stop by and check it out, and you know,
yeah, it's a good show, because down, like you said, down that end of White Plains, like close to the main street, there is some great businesses down there. Gaio Kako is a good one that never really gets checked out. A new Colombian place opened right down there. Food's amazing. But like just like you said, everything's really localized up here, and you miss everything down this end. Like another place that's down here in White Plains is La Boca. If anybody's ever been to La Boca, traditional Italian, love the atmosphere, always a nice time. But with the expansion of White Plains, you know, businesses have to grow with it. Trends have to come in. You know, new styles have to come in. New people have to come in. So, you know, we're just looking to grow with the city as it does grow.
I mean, that area, the downtown area is beautiful. I was just walking through there last night, and I was just like, it was a very, very nice night last night. It wasn't cold. It was beautiful. Like, just seeing the people walking through. Because in the buildings, they have, like, little plazas, you know, like, it's going to be up and coming. That place is going to blow up. I already know it.
100%. I also feel like I want to tell everybody who supports us, you know, all the people who've been watching our podcast, all the people who come in and dine with us, that, you know, you're helping us do what we want to do and give you some great experiences down the line. And we really appreciate everybody who steps foot through the doors. We really appreciate everybody who likes and subscribes to our podcast, you know. And we really love to serve you guys, whether it's by telling you about great spaces that New York has to offer, or whether it's, you know, by serving you in person when you stop by our restaurants and our future, you know, projects that we're gonna keep trying to elevate and bring our best products and our best selves to the picture here. So thank you to you guys who've been supporting us, and, you know, White Plains has been very supportive to us. So shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. But we're gonna finish up with doing our cocktail of the week. So cocktail of the week it's basically a rendition of a spagliato, which James pointed out to us today. Jimmy B, if you want to give us a quick rundown.
Yeah, I'm actually just referring to the article as we speak. Shout out to Morning Brew. Yeah, so the cocktail of the week this week is the spagliato. And spagliato is Italian for mistake. So a variation on the Negroni. But instead of gin, you use Prosecco or some sort of champagne, some sort of, you know, sparkling wine. And it actually blew up this week. I seen memes of us going crazy. TikTok is going nuts over the spagliato. And according to Morning Brew, it blew up because the actor Emma Darcy said it was their favorite beverage of choice in a promo for House of Dragons, which is, you know, a sideshow for Game of Thrones.
But if you want to check out a variation of the spagliato, which is what we do, we have a great cocktail. We just came, you know, it's not on our menu. It's just something that we came up with, playing around with spagliatos as we do. It's a lovely spritz. It's refreshing. It's a split base of Amaro Nonino, Cucci Torino, and instead of Campari, we decided to use a different bitter. It's a little bit more complex. It's a Gran Classico. Has a little bit of, you know, some floral notes to it, but I like the complexity in it. And then we top it off with Prosecco, and it's going to be made by one of our great bartenders, Memo. And this cocktail it's now known as the Tears of a Tiny Guinea. So anybody who wants to check out the Tears of a Tiny Guinea, you come check it out in the Blind Pig of Westchester, and you know, the Tears of Tiny Guineas taste excellent. All right, lads, that's the end of the Naked and Famous podcast for this week. Come check us out next week. Please subscribe, you know, to our YouTube channel, the Naked and Famous Instagram. We've also got a TikTok and Spotify, anything else that you can find us on. Come check us out. We really appreciate the support. Myself and James are going to be here. Rob's going to be joining us, and we're soon to be back.
Yeah.
Have a great one,
Thank you,
guys.
folks.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you.